Good afternoon. This is Passionate Bliss, and I am here coming to you with this week's episode of Married at First Sight, episode 4. And on this episode, everyone is waking up after the matrimony and they are in a good mood. Everyone is smiling, they are optimistic, they seem committed, they are comfortable in each other's presence, it seems, and they are on their way to a Mexican honeymoon. Let's check in at the honeymoon. First couple is Shawn and Nikki. This is the 47, 48-year-old couple, um, the black older gentleman and lady, and they are communicating at this point. He is clearly attempting to be more charming. He's smiling. She's relaxing, but he still can't help but slip in something sexual in his jokey joke style. And then he tells her it's a joke. Well, you may think it's funny, but it's actually off putting to her and it annoys her as well. Um, they continue to try to communicate through this, beyond this, and he is asking her questions, trying to understand her and clarify her statements. She seems to like to make vague statements. Um, and when he questions her because he does not understand her vague statements, she gets offended and feels like she's being interviewed or interrogated. Um, you know, so they clearly have a communication style that is not compatible at this point. For me, when you enter into an experiment like Married at First Sight, you're skipping over all of the vague feeling you out, getting to know you parts. So, in my opinion, when you get married at first sight, you need to come with it. You need to be an open book. You need to tell me what you have to say so that I can understand you and you can understand me and we can proceed. But if you're being vague and you're trying to be mysterious and you're trying to be cutesy and you're trying to hold back, I don't understand how you ever expected this to succeed with the amount of time you have to make a final decision on whether you're going to stay married or not. This is a sped up process. This slow burn and me taking time and getting to know, you know, you're doing a disservice to what you entered into. You're doing a disservice to the process. You're doing a disservice to the other person. So to me, this is annoying when you get these people on here who say, I don't want to explain my whole past to you. I don't want to go into details about my past. Well, all the time that you need to warm up, we skipped over that by getting directly to a wedding. So to me, I find this personally annoying. He seemed to take it on the chin. He didn't press her too much, but I could tell that it was annoying because he's very direct and he's blunt and well, not as blunt as I am. And maybe that's why his style of communication appeals to me, because I am also direct and blunt, and I get annoyed with people who are trying to be vague, and I have a tendency to pin you down so I can find out what you're talking about, because I don't like to walk around being confused. To me, the goal of communication is to understand and to be understood. And if I don't understand what you meant, I'm going to say, hold on. And then I'm going to try to figure out what you meant instead of pretending like I understood you and letting you go on. So to me, that communication style is very off-putting and confusing. And probably he would have felt that way too had he met her under normal circumstances, and he probably would have stopped talking to her at the bar. But we've skipped over all that and we've gotten to the wedding. So he is being patient and he is trying to be understanding with her. Um, they also have a little bit of a argument over her decision to wait until 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, whatever, before they entertain the idea of sex at all, which is okay. He's just saying, oh, well, you didn't tell me that. She brought it up in her vague way of saying, would you be okay with this? So he said, yeah, I'll be okay with it. At that point, she made a decision that that's what they were going to do, but didn't say anything to him. So I actually understand him on this point. And, for the record, I am a girl's girl. If I can side with the woman in any dispute, I absolutely will. And I'm quick to throw black men under a bus in particular. So me being on his side, that's actually saying a lot. She's, slightly weird and she's a little reserved, but I do see her trying and I do see her warming up to him. And the fact that they are old enough and mature enough to realize, look, which they flat out identified, we have different communication styles. But they're still committed to learning each other and to caring for each other, being there for each other, and growing something. So I do like that. There's no hostility, even though they had this disagreement. And I really think it's just a misunderstanding, is that they don't understand each other because they are actually strangers. So I feel like they can still work through this. I think they still want to work through it. I still have hope for them as a couple. And I feel like they may even go faster at a faster pace now because they're mature enough to identify we communicate differently. We need, and she is able to say, no, I need you to be less blunt with me. You have to be a little bit more careful with me. And he's going to try to do that. And hopefully they can reach a happy medium in between and go successfully forward from that. Because there is also a point where you're blunt and you're not just blunt, you're rude. And so, but I haven't seen him cross that line. But she's approaching it as if he has, and he hasn't. So hopefully they can reach a happy medium and she can feel that she's being handled delicately, and not roughly, because she described him as rough at one point. So we don't want her to feel roughed up. But at the same time, you need to be able to talk to this person, because he's not cursing, he's not yelling, he's not being disrespectful. So, you know, I just hope they can reach a happy medium. But these type of people, I actually lose patience with them quickly, and I don't befriend women who need to have things sugar-coated like that, to the fact that you can't even talk to them. So I don't tiptoe around people and walk on eggshells when I talk to them. So as a friend, I wouldn't seek this lady out as a friend. But, you know, he's a man and he's getting something out of it in addition to what he wants physically. So men seem to be more patient than that. I personally wouldn't be. But I still have hope for them, because he's willing to accommodate her and she's still willing to try with him. And she feels that they are making progress. And the physical will come later. So I'm glad that they've had that discussion and it's off the table. The next couple I have up on my list is Felipe and Tori. Turns out she's religious and he's an atheist. If I was religious and somebody told me that I was married to, they were an atheist, that would be upsetting to me, because I have my own personal opinions about atheists. Because atheists say that there is no creator. I'm assuming they believe in the Big Bang Theory, because I don't talk to atheists. Why would I talk to an atheist? You're not acknowledging a higher power or a creator. To me, that tells me that I'm not speaking to someone who is very intelligent, or this is someone who is saying I'm of this position and they haven't really thought about what that position means. Because if you're going to look at the design and the sophistication of this universe that we live in and say there was no creator, I question your intelligence. I'm okay with agnostics who say that there is a high power. We don't know what it is. We don't know who it is. We don't know what they're doing. But I know something is higher than me out there. I can get with the agnostic. But an atheist, I can't. I think I'm talking to an idiot when you tell me you're an atheist. So that would, in fact, bother me if I was married to somebody who told me they were an atheist. But he's not opposed to her religious beliefs and her religious practices. He just thinks they're ridiculous, like baptizing a baby. He just thinks, okay, that just means you dip the baby in water. She thinks the baby's saved. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a compatibility issue for them. And it can be that way as long as they don't try to interfere with what you believe in if you're a religious person. Felipe tells her that he's cheated in the past. My question is, what is the purpose of telling her that you are a known cheater? What is the purpose of that? Are you trying to make her feel insecure? I would question his motives in telling me that. He said he's trying to be transparent, but you don't need to be transparent about your flaws, especially if you do not intend to repeat it again. And this is not something that I need to be forewarned about, because I'm going to be in a room with somebody you cheated with, or an ex who's going to tell you we're a cheater. So I don't understand the purpose of why he told her that. But she didn't think it was cute at all. And she proceeds to tell him a story about how she packed up and left the man key on the counter and moved all her stuff with a U-Haul when she found somebody cheating. So she let him know that you can get to cheating if you want to, but you will find your house key on the table and my belongings will be gone. We're not about to play these games with you. So he told her about the past, and I don't know if he was trying to make her feel insecure or be jealous or, watchdog over him, but she let him know, I don't do that. I gets to stepping. So I did like that exchange between them, and he has reassured her that's in his past. He's not going to do it again. She's accepting of that, and they are moving along forward. My next couple I have up is Marissa and Adam. This is the couple that I think is going to fail without a doubt. However, they are the ones that are moving full steam ahead. They are the only couple that has had sex. They are very attentive to one another. They are very touchy-feely with one another. I think this is lust-driven. She, for some reason, thinks it's an attractive quality to sleep for 3 hours a day in the middle of a day for a nap, and she keeps mentioning it. Now, he's already said in the past that he don't even like that. But he's letting it go because he wants to sleep with her. So I still think this couple is going to fail once the lust wears off and he's had enough sex with her. He's going to get back to the personality of hers that he don't really like. So far, him being sober and her being a drinker has not been an issue for them, which she seemed like it was a turn off to her initially. It's not an issue for them because he ain't trying to stop her from drinking yet. So the next couple I have up is Michelle and Cameron. This is another couple I also think is going to fail. They seem to be getting more comfortable with one another. Michelle is the little Asian lady. He's the tall basketball player. They have boring exchanges, but they seem to be content. She gets tearful once again. She is a crybaby, it seems. Admits she has fertility issue. He admits to holding things in, which is not good in a relationship. So a lot of these people, I wonder, why are you trying to be married instead of working on the fact that I hold things in, but I'm trying to connect myself to someone else for life, possibly, when I don't like to talk and don't like to communicate. I really don't understand why these people want to do this to another human. You must communicate if you're going to enter into a binding contract and relationship for life with a partner. Communication is vital. So, and also some of these couples, I feel like if they hadn't done this, they were never in life going to get married. And he's one of them. This is the only way he was ever going to be married. Unless he sent for a mail order bride, which is what it looked like he might have. But yeah, I think they're going to fail. My original prediction stands true. At any point, if my original predictions are not looking out that way, I'll go ahead and admit it. They're proving me wrong, and I'm delighted or I'm surprised. So far, Shawn and Nikki, the older black couple, they are the ones that I said was a risky connection, but it could work if they're willing to work at it. And it looks like they are. So I'm still in the same spot with that. Felipe and Tori, I felt like this was a good match. It's going to work out. I still agree with that. Marissa and Adam, I think they're going to fail. They're not showing signs of that yet, but I think it's coming. Michelle and Cameron, they are also, I feel like, going to fail, but they're not showing signs of that yet, but I feel like it's coming. Red flag is that he admits that he holds things in. The next couple, one of my favorite couples, Mecca and Jolie. They like each other's personality. They feel that they are the male and female version of one another. That's always a red flag when I hear that, because you're assuming this person is like you just because you're compatible, but they're not like you. You don't know them. They're a stranger. So could be a little red flag, but not really. She enjoys her time with him. They're on the yacht. They're having a good time. She goes ahead and gives him the biggest green light ever, which she does have to do because she limited this man to kisses on the cheeks. So he don't know what to do. He's letting her set the pace. And because you have done that, where you have to set the pace, you have to give him the green light and tell him, I'm not going to reject any physical advances. And so she has done that. He's aware of that. And they have had a nice little kiss that she really enjoyed. Okay. And so they are also coming along nicely. No communication issues at this time. Let's see. Dean and Caitlyn. This is the two that are athletic. He's the ball player, and she is the exercise bicycle coach. So they go out on their vacation and their honeymoon in Mexico. They, of course, have a physical diving activity date that's right up their alley. Then they have lunch. He is, emphasizing his need for physical touch, and he is saying how he wants to be close. He wants to serve her. He wants to cater to her. He wants to be lovey-dovey. He's describing himself as a golden retriever. She is here describing herself as a black cat, and she is acting like a black cat. She has leaned into this black cat persona of hers. She says she's not in touch with her emotions. Again, why did you go and seek out a partner for life when you are not in touch with your emotions? This person needs to know where you're at emotionally in order to deal with you. Why did you sign up for this? She says she usually dates a-holes. I feel like it's partially because you are an a-hole, and that's what you're attracting. You're attracting people who are not warm and loving because you are not warm and loving. And it is not fair to go onto a reality show with somebody who wants to be in a warm and loving relationship when you are not warm and loving, and you know it. You're describing yourself as a black cat, and you've leaned into this persona of needing your space and wanting to be distant. People don't get married to give space and be distant. They get married for connection. So for you to sign up for this program knowing that you don't want to be connected to somebody like that, it is unfair. And I'm really disappointed for him. And I feel like this man is going to be in for a miserable time with her if she doesn't come out of this. If she doesn't shake this off. But it seems like she's leaning into it, and she's cozying up to the MAGA woman who is also distant and standoffish. Okay. She's even complaining and telling the man that he's chewing too much. My feeling is that this lady don't like this man and that she wants to be alone, and she came here and got married to be alone in a marriage. Well, he don't want that, So she's really annoying me the most out of everybody. He wants togetherness. He asked her, okay, when the alarm goes off in the morning and let's work out together. We'll wake up, we'll work out together. She agreed to that. And instead of saying, no, I like to work out alone. It helps me get my head cleared for the day, and I make my plans and I organize my thoughts. I like to exercise alone in the morning. Instead of her saying that, she agrees to wake him up. And then when the alarm goes off, she does not wake him up. She goes to exercise by herself and leaves him to wake up alone, wondering why she lied to him basically the night before. When you could have just told him, no, I exercise alone. First thing in the morning, that's my routine. That's my alone time. So, she's off to a horrible start. And it's really not fair to this man. And she's, to me, the worst offender of all. And this couple is going to fail. So I thought that they were promising. I liked them together at first, but I didn't know she was a weirdo. And so now that I know she's a weirdo, I can say pretty certainly at this point, if she does not come in a good 70%, this is going to end in failure. And he's going to be miserable for all 4 or 5 weeks that this experiment continues. The last couple that I'm getting to is Nick and Courtney. That's the MAGA couple. This lady looked like she just can't stand this man. And he hasn't done anything. She shuts down anything and everything he says and then says, he's boring. I'm struggling to try to talk. Because you shut down any and everything he says and does. You don't like anything about him, it seems like. And for that reason, he's shutting down more and more. And now you're saying he's boring. I'm struggling to talk. I'm coming up with all the conversations. I want to go run and talk to somebody animated like Felipe. Get out Felipe's face. He already got a wife. You really shouldn't have signed up for this show either. I don't really know what she wants. She wants somebody outgoing. Then you should have said you wanted somebody outgoing and with a really huge personality. That's what you should have said. A lot of these people are not honest about how they are and who they are. And and my thing, even with the last couple, with the lady who calls herself a black cat. I mean, did you tell the professionals that you are a black cat? And that you're not in touch with your emotions? They should have found somebody just like you. So, my thing is, how honest was she about how she is with the coaches? They can't make a good decision, a good match, if you're not honest about who you are and how you are. So, Nikki and Courtney's the same way. She says that, and Courtney's the main one that was saying that she feels like these guys are going to get bored with her in 3 hours. He's going to get bored with me. He's going to leave me. She has to fear people leaving her. Well, this is how you act. I see why they're leaving you. It's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're making it happen. You're driving the man away. This man hasn't done anything wrong to her. Yes, he's been on a lot of reality TV shows, and I could see her wanting to have a guard up because she doesn't know why he's here. He could actually be here, just to be on a show and then dump her 5 weeks later. So I could see her having a guard up, but she needs to express that and give him the chance to prove otherwise. And you can also have your guard up and still be a pleasant person and still get to know him and still interact with him. At least even try to form a friendship. I can't say that this lady is even trying to be friendly with him at this point. So again, my prediction with them is consistent. It is going to fail because she's being a weirdo. She can't sit still. She have to feel like she have to do something every time. She has to constantly be moving. I feel like she's a weirdo, but it's too early to call it on her. It could be that she's just not handling this well, and it could be that they could have one good sit-down conversation with the therapist and have a reset and make a connection of some sort. Because again, there are things that they have in common why they were why they were matched up by the matchmakers. So hopefully that can come about for them. But I always thought this couple was going to fail. And my predictions on these couples haven't changed. How about yours? What did you see? Anything stand out to you? Anything that I missed that you wanted to share or point out? Let me know. Leave your comments below. Like the video, hype the video, subscribe to the channel, so on and so forth. And with that being said, y'all have a great day, good afternoon, and sweet dreams at night.